come on in, Mr. Nippy. Come on in. You don't have to stand outside the door looking in. You can come in if you want to. Yes, you can. Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing another song in my 8-inch circle journal. Wow, that's a bit of a mouthful. So the tap dancing you can hear behind me is Mr. Nip. Let's just see if I can get him in the camera. Say hello, Mr. Shy. Say hello, darling. No, hello. Say hello. He's a good boy. So this time in my circle journal, sorry, Pat, I'm going to be doing a song which was originally written as a folk song in 1957, but was then later covered in 1972 as a pop song and was a huge hit. And then I'll also tell you the connection between that and a very well-known Christmas song. Okay, so this is my 8-inch circle journal. So I'm going to put that to one side because I've already taken the page out that I'm going to be working on today. So this is going to be it, to make sure that I've got the holes marked correctly. And I'm going to be using one of the fantastic, even if I do say so myself, faces from my Small Faces paper book. So this is the Small Faces paper book. Love it to bits. So that is what I'm going to be using, and I've chosen this one because she is gorgeous, just the sort of one that I want to do. So she's going to be the central focal point right in the middle of the page. So what I need to do first of all is just to cut her out. So I will whiz through that, and I'm not particularly bothered about getting total accuracy with the cutting out because we don't mind a little bit of the black line around the outline of her hair. So this Small Faces book was one of the ones that was launched on Hobbymaker TV a week or so ago. It's been very, very popular. So thank you to everybody who has sent messages, and particularly because you're enjoying the mix of ethnicities in there as well. It was done deliberately. So I wanted to show a nice selection of both male, female, white skin and dark skins. Just because. So yeah, so thank you to all the lovely comments that we've had regarding that. And don't forget, even though you can purchase the printed paper version, there is also a digital download version of this as well if you don't want to pay the postage, and then of course you've got it forever then. So it does make economic sense to do it that way if you want to. So we're going to do it just so that she's down here, I think. And what I want to do, just make sure I've got those holes lined up correctly. So what I'm doing, I'm using, you can't see this, but I've got a cross grid on the screen in front of me, because I've got a TV screen in front of where I'm working. And in fact, let me see if I can grab my other phone, and I might be able to take a quick picture of what I'm actually looking at, and then I can overlay that image over the top of this one so you can see what I'm talking about. Here we go. So this, look, this is the camera. So as you can see, I've got this kind of cross grid on the screen, and I'm lining the holes up with that cross grid which is on the screen there. I'm trying to keep the phone out of shot, so just there. I'm hoping you can see that. That's just helping me make sure I've got everything centered on the TV screen. I've got a camera which is above, which is pointing straight down to what I'm working at on my worktop here, but that helps me just to get those lined up so that I know my composition is going to be fairly straight. We use whatever technology we can these days. Okay, so I know that's straightish because I've got that line perfect. So what I want to do is just, actually maybe I might just glue her down and then we can cut her out later. So I'm going to work on the center of the page. So that's pretty much going to be, let's say, about there, I think. So let me just grab a pencil and I can put a dot pretty much where I think it's going to be in the centre of the page. And then that's where she can go, just like that. Perfect. So now I know what the centre of the page is, I'm going to do some wavy lines emanating from the back of her head, like so. And I'm only going to do them that way. I'm only going to do the top part of that because that's all I want to do for that. Now I'm going to grab some gold paint. So let me just do that and I'll be right back. Alright, slight change of plan. My original idea was to use some gold acrylic paint and paint some of these, but I've just had a look through my collection of paints. Both watercolour, I can't find my Gansai Tambe watercolours, they've disappeared, still in a box probably. I've got no gold Luscious from Indigo Blue, and I've got no metallic paints from Indigo Blue. I've got no other metallic paints, and Ian can't find his in the shed either. So we're going to have to do something different. So I'm going to use gold coloured acrylic paint, and I'm just going to mix a little bit of water, not a lot, but just a little bit of water. I've put some down on here as well. I'm just going to grab, so this is yellow ochre. So I'm just going to come in and just kind of, perhaps I should have got a smaller brush, but we're okay. We can manage with this. I've not added any gesso at all to the page. I'm just going to let it soak in, let it do its thing. So the cardstock that I'm using is the De La Rowney mixed media cardstock, and it'll pretty much deal with and cope with anything that you throw at it. I'm just looking for a smaller brush, more of a detail brush, a round-headed brush, that'll do. This one will work. So let's grab some of that, a little bit of water, and then let's do not every other one. It's better. A little bit more controlled brushwork. And then I can just roll the brush just to keep it between the lines. But it doesn't matter if the lines go over because we're not being super accurate. Doesn't matter too much. To be honest, I kind of like the fact that you can see variation, the fact that you can see the brush strokes in that. So let's just add some of those back in. There we go. So we'll do another one here. And just roll the brush in your fingers. I'm holding the brush fairly close to the bristles. Just add a little bit of water, just for a bit of fluidity and movement. A bit more like a pen. I'm using the brush more like a pen than I am a paintbrush. And you can just roll it if you think you're going to go over. If you've got a stray bristle, just like you would do if you were cutting in and doing some painting at home. All right, so that's ochre. So do that one, two there, two there, two there. That's fine, that'll do me. I'll get that cleaned off and I'll be right back. actually, no. Tell you what we'll do. We'll utilise that ochre just down here, just as a little bit of background colour for the bottom of the page. I'll just grab a little bit of orange, just shake it to wake it, that'll do, and then we'll just grab a little bit of that orange and just start adding in a few kind of orangey tones. A bit more of the ochre, a bit more of the orange. Don't want it a flat white. Thinking about coffee. I don't want it a flat matte colour, which is why I want just to add in. Let's go over the edge. Let's live dangerously. Let's just colour outside the lines today. Okay, a bit of orange, a bit more of that ochre. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Not much water left in that tub. Let's just pour some in. There you go. That's better. Right, let's add a few red tones in there. Just because my main character has got red in her hair. So let's just add just a little, because it is a strong colour. Don't want to add a huge amount, just kind of the odd kind of red splodge. There we go. And in fact, I think what we'll do with that red is we'll use that. I could probably have done with an even smaller brush. Do you know what? Let's do that. Let's get an even smaller brush. There we go. Even this one might be too big. A bit more water. So this red is Deco Art Americana True Red. The orange was Bright Orange, and the ochre True Ochre, in case you were wondering, which you probably weren't. So what I'll do is I'm going to do this one as well and that one as well in the red. Because, like I said, my original plan has gone, as they say, to cock. But that's okay. It's not right, but it's okay. To quote, is it Beyonce? I think. My grasp of popular culture isn't what it was. I'm afraid anything after around about 1989 is beyond me. Lovely. Now, I don't know whether you can hear in the background, there's like a really high-pitched whine. That's Dad on a recent visit back to their old house, which we've still got, by the way. I haven't sold it yet because we need to do a little bit of maintenance, get it ready for selling, just redecorate, freshen it all up, that kind of thing. On the recent visit back up there the other day, Dad asked me to bring his belt sander because there are 2 garden benches that we brought when we moved them in, and they're in desperate need of a little bit of maintenance, so Dad's sanding them down today. He's very glad of something to do, so he's very, very happy. So he's sanding down the benches, readying them to paint them. So he's having a lovely time. I may have to close my shed door in a minute. The noisy bugger. Yes, I'm liking that. I'm liking the way this is going. Right, I'm just going to get this cleaned off. Yeah. And then I'll be back. Okay, it isn't Dad that's making the high-pitched whining noise. It's one of the neighbours. There you go. I didn't think Dad would be able to resist, but he is doing. Right, so for the last 4 pieces there, I've got some flitter glue. So flitter glue is specially formulated. Now, is this brand new? You watch, I'm probably still got the stopper in the top. It has, see, no matter how much I squeeze, that would never have come out because it's a brand new pot. Oh, there we go. Always happens. Always happens. You always end up getting it all over your trousers. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's just me. Right, I'm going to leave the top off. Right, so I've got some flitter glue. So this flitter glue was specifically designed to be used with the gilding flake that Indigo Blue produce. Now, I've just got some red paint in it. Doesn't matter, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint with the flitter glue, and I'm going to paint in, if I can get close enough. Well, that's going to be hidden behind a head anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. Right, so with this flitter glue, you can apply it with a sponge, you can apply it with a brush like this if you're wanting specific detail. Now, like I said, it doesn't matter if I go over just a little bit, that's all right. You can also stamp with this glue, so you can put some glue on some what do they call it? Indigo Blue call it fat foam, but Ranger call it something else. I'm trying to think what they called it. It's got like a grey foam backing and then like a spongy stuff on top. No, my brain's gone. And that's if they still make it, that they might not anymore. But anyway, you can apply it to a stamp. You tamp it on a stamp, and then you can stamp using the glue, and then you can add your gilding flake over the top, and then when you scooch it off, the gold flake stays on the stamped image, which is a really, really effective technique. One I've done a couple of times on this channel, but I haven't done it for quite a few years. So if you're interested in seeing that technique done again, because you haven't seen it for a while or you've never seen it, leave me a comment below the video. If you're watching this on my blog, then you can still leave a comment on the blog post, or you can always just send me a message via the website or through either of my Facebook groups or even my own Facebook profile if you're a friend on Facebook. Okay, so what I'm also going to do now is I'm just going to take the smallest amount in the background and just rub it. Like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to leave that for a good quarter of an hour, 10 minutes, because it will not dry. It's got a really long open time. It does that glue. So we're going to leave it like that for a bit, and then we're going to come back. All right, I think we've left that long enough. Right, so that foam stuff I was talking about is this. It's got grey foam on the back, and then you've got like a sponge on top of that. You can load your glue into the sponge, and then you can tap onto your stamps and then stamp with it, and it transfers the image. That's the stuff. Cut and dry, I think. Indigo Blue sell it under a different name called Fat Foam, but I think it was Cut and Dry that Ranger used to sell it as. I don't know whether they still sell it. I've never bought any from Ranger for quite a few years because I can get it from the UK, from Indigo Blue. But there you go. Right, so now that glue has had time just to kind of like dry a little bit, but it's still tacky. If I put my finger on it, you can see I can lift it up because it is still tacky. So what I've got here is not gilding flake, but actual gold leaf. So for this, it's extremely thin. And I'm going to try and see if I can pick it up just using the edge static of my t-shirt. Sometimes you can rub it in your hair, a ruler in your hair, just to kind of, oh, there we go. Did you see that? And it leaps off the page. And then what I'm going to do is that's it. I'm just going to drop it down like that, and then just rub it with my finger, and then lift up the spare. See, if my worktop is the slightest bit sticky, it's also going to stick. So this is not real gold leaf, it's imitation gold leaf, which is much cheaper. Much more cheaper. And then you can just drop it on and, you know, stick it down over the top of the bits that you wanted it to go onto. Like so. Yeah, you see my worktop was a little bit too sticky. Not cleaned properly. So let's see whether or not we can just turn that over and just drop it down as a diagonal. It's very messy. It's very fiddly. But it's fun. Just like a lot of art techniques. So I'm just trying to lift some of the larger pieces back off and then just stick them back down over the exposed gold, like there. Now you can try, if you've got some, pair of tweezers. I'm just lifting the edges up with a scalpel here. Just give that a rub. Grab another bit, because that's exposed there. I did say it was fiddly. Come on. That's it. So that little piece there, I'll stick on there. Yeah, I think that's well and truly stuck on. I'll have to get some solvent on that. Right, so on this one, let's just tip that over like so. I'm just going to rub my finger over the top. Flip that over there. And then one more piece. Yeah, so I've had this in my stash for a good couple of years. I did create an artwork with it, and that was hung up in the kitchen in the old house. So it's probably in a box somewhere upstairs. So it may come out again. It's not a project, it's not a piece of art that I did as a video. It was just one that I did for my own kind of like personal, hello Nibs, my own kind of personal, my own personal kind of thing. Hello, can you hear him tap dancing under my desk? Hello darling, hello sweet pea, what do you want? Can you not go back in the house? Has somebody closed the door? Is that what you're telling me? Okay, well let's go and let you back in then. Right, so what I will do is I'll go let Nippy back into the house. I'll let this just sit for a second or two, and then we'll come back in and clean it up. And then I'll put the remnants of this gold leaf away to use another day. All right, back in a moment. All right, so now we've got that gold leaf down there, we want to get rid of the excess. So I've got this piece of foam, which is called a scoochie, that I got from Indigo Blue, and it's very, can you see, you can actually see through it, look. It's fairly coarse, but it's soft, but it's coarse. And what you can do with it is you can then just rub it over the surface, and it will remove any excess gold leaf, like so. Now, those where we've got areas down here where we wanted it to stick, you can lift those pieces back up and just give it a rub. So any of the excess bits, just pick up, drop on, and they'll only stick in the places where you added the glue. See, I'm going to have to give this a really good scrub to get rid of all the gold leaf off there. But it will come off. The trick is probably to get some alcohol on there, and that will probably lift it off a lot quicker. Right, so let me have a quick clean up, because this is now turned into glitter, and if anybody knows Ian will know that he has an absolute horror, almost a phobia, and I'm sure there is a real name for glitter phobia, because it does go everywhere. Oh, we're still recording. Right, as you saw, alcohol will get rid of it. All right, so now I want to stick down my little face, and I want to put her so that her eyes are kind of in that band there. So we're just going to use ordinary glue for that. And I promise, next time I do any filming, I will make sure that I tighten my chair up again. Because, yeah, it does get on your nerves. Alright, so the glue I'm using here is just spirit-based Tombow Mono Aqua. It's the clear stuff in the blue bottle, not the white stuff in the white and green bottle. Now let's just get those, make sure we get the holes lined up, and I think yes, she's almost got that kind of icon feel to her. And then I can just turn that over and then just snip off that little bit of the neck. And I don't mind the fact that some of that gold has stuck down at the bottom. But yeah, I like that. I like the fact that we've got that gold leaf. And that gold leaf was just a by the by, because I couldn't find any of my gold paint. But yeah, I love that gold. That gold is lovely. Right, okay, so on to the song. Right, so the song was written in 1957 as a folk song by a chap called Ewan MacColl from Scotland. And I apologise to the Scottish for that awful and dreadful attempt at a Scottish accent, even though I am myself Scottish descent at Dundee, if anybody's wondering, from the Walkers, which is the McGregor clan. So the song is called The First Time. So, and like I said, it was a folk song originally. So written by Ewan MacColl for Peggy Seeger. Peggy Seeger being the mother, I believe, of Bob Seger for the Americans. I believe Bob Seger is a very well known singer, songwriter. So Ewan MacColl, Scottish. Peggy Seeger, I believe, was his third wife. The song was covered by Peter, Paul and Mary in the 60s, and then in 1972 it was recorded by Roberta Flack. So the first time ever I saw your face, I thought the sun rose in your eyes. And the song goes on, blah, 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 blah. Now then, so the interesting fact about Ewan MacColl, especially if you're from Britain, MacColl, there is another famous singer here in the UK called Kirsty MacColl. Now, Kirsty MacColl tragically died in an accident a few years ago, tragically, because she was one of my favourite singers. Kirsty MacColl was famous as a singer and songwriter herself. Songs such as New England, There's a Guy Works Down the Chip Shop Swears It's Elvis. Yes, it is a real song title. But also, if you know the song Fairy Tale of New York, which is always played at Christmas by the Pogues, the female voice on that track is Kirsty MacColl. And she is the daughter of Ewan MacColl. There we go. So that is the connection. And I've always loved this song. It's right up there with you know, One Day I'll Fly Away by Randy Crawford and things like that. Just beautiful, beautiful songs. So that's why it's made it into my songbook art journal. So as per usual, I will put a link to a YouTube version of the song, but it's going to be very difficult, I think, to find a version by Ewan MacColl and Peggy Seeger, because it's always the Roberta Flack version or the Peter, Paul and Mary version that you get. Don't like that. Sorry, that's coming up quickly before the glue sets. Yeah, we don't like that. Instead, I want it horizontal. Let's get those holes lined up. Yeah, that's about as horizontal as it's going to get. Okay, so we're not done just yet. I'm going to let that sit for a minute or two just for it to dry, and then I'll be back. Okay, so just to finish off, I want to add a little bit of shadow just around the edges. So I'm going to be using a Stabilo all pencil just to add just a little bit, like I said, of that shadow. It won't go over the gold, but that's fine. So I'm just going to put the pencil down first. I've just sharpened it with a scalpel because I can't find my pencil sharpener anywhere. Well, when I say I can't find it, I haven't actually tried to look because yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to activate the Stabilo all pencil and just let that do its thing to create that shadow. I'm just going to maneuver the water, and the more water you add to these, the more it kind of like diffuses. But it does create a nice kind of shadow around the side of the page. Let's grab some kitchen roll. Even if it dries, it's okay because it's water based, and you can always come back in with a little clean water and just work it again just to kind of diffuse it a bit more. If you think it's a bit too dark. That's why I like these Stabilo all pencils, and they're great. Alright, so I'm going to do a universal kind of shadow on both sides rather than just on the one. It just helps just to make it pop. Just a tad, just a wee tad. Like I said, I can always come back in if I think it's too strong and just work it until I'm happy with it. So just keep turning it around and pushing the pigment outwards with the brush strokes. Grab a bit of clean water and then you can just diffuse it, and just keep on diffusing it until it disappears. And if you want, grab your finger. Because we've used acrylics, it's going nowhere. Don't forget that the image itself had a black line around it anyway. so it will just fit straight in. I think I've taken just a little bit too much away. And you can do the dance back and forth with this. Put it on, take it away, put it on, take it away, put it on, take it away, until you're happy. The light that I've got in here at the moment is fairly strong, and it is reflecting, so that'll do. And then we can finish off with that. Just put that away, so let that dry, and then we'll finish off. All right, so just to finish off then, I have to, it's the law, just to add a few white splatters. Just because. I'll just put my hand just over her face. Just turn that round. And that will do. It's a simple thing, but it does make such a big difference, adding those splatters. Alright, so a quick clean up of my hand and everywhere else, because I've splattered it everywhere, as I usually do, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so that's now dry. Look at the shine. So the splatters are all dry, but it just needs just a little bit something extra just down here. So for that, I'm just going to use this Abstract Marks stamp set, which is a new released at the same time as those small faces paper pads. And I'm just going to use that little splatters, that kind of insignificant little splatter one there. And I'm just going to grab a small stamping block. From my secret stash, stick it on, and then I'm just going to use Vintage Photo Distressing, because I don't want it too dark, and I'm not even sure if there's any ink left in this pad, to be honest. And I'm just going to add, yeah, it might be just a little bit too subtle, might just have to do, let's try a different pad. Because I have got another one here. Let's try this one. Ah, that looks darker. Alright, so let's just add a little bit of stamping just to kind of break up that area. And although it is fairly subtle, you can barely see it, it does just help just to break up that big area, which we don't want. Well, we do want it, but we don't want it to be void of interest. I'll just give that a clean, and then I can put that back in that little stamp set. So this is, like I said, that's the Abstract Marks 2 stamp set, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, yeah, you get 6 stamps on there. Doubting my own eyes then, which happens quite often. Okay, so now all we need to do is just to record the name of the song, which goes on. Now normally I write it on the front page, which I have done in previous months. Let's have a look at January's, which was that one, so I wrote it somewhere on the front page, and the year. That was February, sorry. March was Bob Marley and the Wailers, 1977. And then we did Our House, Madness, because that was the name of the song, Our House. Did I write on the back as well, April? I did. So somewhere here, I think I'll write it just around the bottom here. And we'll put We know what the name of the song is. First Time Ever I Saw Your Face, which is the title of the song. So I will write here, just on the side, Ewan MacColl, 1957. There we go. And then on the back, we'll write May and put today's date, which is the 24th. Oh, so tomorrow's going to be 25/5/25. Way! Fantastic. And that can now be added to my song journal. That one first. And that one. Oh, I knew that would happen. I'm being very what's called cack-handed today. There we go. I locked the keys to the shed. In the shed last night. I had to break in this morning with a hacksaw. Yeah, I did say I was being very cack-handed today. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this gold-leafed, faux gold-leafed circle art journal page today, celebrating the song First Time Ever I Saw Your Face by Ewan MacColl, which was written for Peggy Seeger back in 1957, made famous by, as I said, Roberta Flack in 1972. There you go. If you have enjoyed watching me create this, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.